So, this will be the first video of what I hope will be a series of videos. This channel, there's no specific point, to be honest. We'll see where it goes as we move with the time. It's more of a kind of diary for me, a place to vent my frustrations, you know. And it gets to me. It really does. How extremely undemocratic our country is in terms of the people we have in power, how they behave, and the consequences to how they behave. Our so-called leaders, I don't think they're leaders, but our so-called leaders, the people we put in power, right? Which, by the way, we don't even put the people in power. They get put in power by their party, right? We get to vote for the party. If you know the system, you'll know what I'm talking about, right? So I'm not really surprised, if I'm not gonna lie. I'm not really surprised that we have such a effed up system as we do right now. But more specifically to the point, which is, you know, I worry for the future of this country. I genuinely do. The ANC has failed dismally. And I, as a young South African, I have a bone to pick with that. We were promised a prosperous country. Coming out of the hell that is apartheid, we were promised a prosperous country that was going to include everyone. That's not the case, by the way. The vast majority of the population is still very, very excluded economically. We were promised land, for example, right? Initially, they set out for something like 30% land expropriation. I don't care whether you expropriate it without compensation or with compensation. That's a topic for another day. But the point is this: land should have been expropriated. Initially, they set out to achieve at least about 30% by about 2015, right? This was the goal from, I think, 97, when the Constitution was put into, you know, official kind of like action, into commission, if you want to say, right? It bothers me that we've only done 6 to 8% of that initial number. And you look at the education sector, for example, as well. Everything is just a disaster. You look at the public sector, everything is a disaster, right? And the sad thing, I would say, is the lack of accountability that a lot of these people display is impressive. I have to say is impressive. But at the same time, the people who put them in power, right? Which in this case, it's not actual individuals. You put the party in power, and the party itself becomes a flipping disaster. What do you do when that's the case? You oust the party. You oust the party. But then we run into yet another problem, which is, when you oust the party, who are you going to put in? The other parties have never been tested. The other parties, so far, show to be they've been shown to be a kind of more or less the same as the ANC in many ways. A lot of similarities between the ANC and other parties, okay? You get the DA, which basically just stands for fucking maintaining the status quo, which is basically white people, right? You get the DA, which isn't really interested in social justice that much. They're literally like zero on the whole social justice thing, right? It's very evident when they basically pass the whole non-racialism thing, which I think is bullshit. I don't think you can separate race from South African politics. It's a stupid thing, and I think they're gonna lose the vote. They're going to lose a large chunk of what they already have, and I think they lost in the last as well. So then you have the ANC, which never really did anything. They made everything worse. But that's like another topic for another day, right? And then you have the EFF. These guys, they have good intentions, but the manner in which they undertake their operations is to a very, like, just not even to a well-meaning, well-thinking human, even to a toddler. Even a toddler could see that what the EFF is doing is nonsense, right? And then you look at their politics and what they plan to do with the country and so on. Now, socialism, in my opinion, is not a bad thing. It depends. What do you do with socialism, right? You have people who are basically detractors. They love to talk about how socialism failed in all the countries that it was implemented. The very same people never, ever want to tell you why the socialism failed. They never want to tell you that. They basically go, the system itself is bad, blah, blah, blah. Therefore, socialism is bad, right? I don't think it's bad. But at the same time, I'm not a proponent of socialism. I'm more a democratic socialist, right? But it's bad. It's bad. The situation is bad for South Africans. The situation is it's horrible, especially for someone like me, especially for people who are youth. Our unemployment in from people from about, I don't know, 16 to about 25 years, youth unemployment is about 50% in this country. We're screwed. We're screwed. Changes need to happen, and as for what those changes are, we'll discuss that on another day. But for now, I just wanted to I wanted to vent my frustrations in a way. But yeah, I'm optimistic. It's gonna be tough. We're screwed at the moment, but I'm optimistic because I have no choice but to be optimistic. This is my country. It's my home. It's the home of my ancestors, and hopefully it's gonna be the home of my descendants as well. So we have no choice but to be, fighters. Not to give up, not to let the current status quo prevail, and just make something happen. We'll talk about what that thing is later. But for now, yeah, thank you for watching the first video on my channel. I'm not going to hit you with the whole subscribe thing or whatever. Just subscribe if you want. If you don't, then it is what it is. If you like the video, like it. If you don't, then don't like it. I don't know, man. Do whatever you want, okay? But yeah, this will be the first of many. I hope you're going to enjoy the journey with me. And I plan to do many other things with the channel. So yeah, stay tuned, man. Peace.